So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching us from. We are back again with a very nice, amazing story on the AG Career Hub, where we feature different stories about African professionals in the diaspora who have trained and been working in Germany, who have done tremendous things. And we do this story so that we can encourage many people and tell them, yes, it is possible. And also to have, to showcase the best ways on how you can maximize your opportunities in such a country. Yes, so we have Ian Minjire. I am sure if you Google Ian Minjire, you will see a very amazing, interesting profile. Let me just show you what I'm reading on the internet right now. So he's under 30. He got an award for his 30 under 30. He's a co-founder of a company in Germany. He's very passionate about sustainability in urban development, environment, sports, and entrepreneurship. So, yes, and most of you know him because of rugby, but apart from rugby, we want to hear his story of how he came to Germany, how he got 2 scholarships. Yes, he got 2 scholarships, one for an internship and the other one for sports. So thank you for having you on the platform, Ian. Very happy to win another mentor. I'm very passionate about mentorship because I think that's the only way we can grow. Karibu sana, and let us know, who is Ian Minjire?
Thank you very much. And wow, what an introduction. I've never even, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. My name is Ian Minjire Kibira, and I'm Kenyan, and 29 years old, and I'm now currently living in Germany, but born and bred in Kenya. My story, that's a tough one. I don't know where to start, so I'm just gonna dive in. Yeah, so I think I'll even start just by correcting. It's not 2 scholarships, it's 3 scholarships. You know, I'm someone that's really heavily been supported to also get to where I am. It started, of course, by also using and managing to leverage my talent in a different game to then also survive through my education. So yeah, just as early as after high school, I got a scholarship from a rugby club called Impala, Resolution Impala Saracens. And, you know, they gave me a scholarship to do my engineering degree. And already as I played for the club, and then over time, after I finished my civil engineering degree, I got called to play for Kenya. So I did take some time off and play for Kenya. But also within this, I then came to Germany through a scholarship after my engineering to do an internship in Berlin at a Bundestal for material Schum and Prüfung, which was a very amazing experience. I got this through my university, through an association called IASTE. It's like International Association for Technical Student Exchange. So that was how I got to Germany. The scholarship on the German side was a DAAD scholarship. So it's a DAAD that uses this society to bring into Germany. And I worked in Berlin for a bit, where I, of course, worked in a lot of sustainable construction and concrete projects, which was something that I really enjoyed. But I had to go back home to graduate, and then, of course, took a little bit of a break because, you know, I realized I don't get any younger in the game. So I took a year and I said, you know, let me play. But after that, of course, opportunities opened up with also another club in Frankfurt called Frankfurt 1880, which is an amazing club in the city of Frankfurt, where I then decided to join a community which I thought, you know, was also very close-knit and fantastic. And they also offered to give me a scholarship to do my master's at Frankfurt University of Applied Science in Urban Sustainability Planning, which is something that I obviously also enjoyed. And with rugby, we then managed to move pretty well. In 2019, we became the German Bundesliga champions. Of course, on the side, I still loved to coach kids just because I had an interest in it. And of course, I was doing my master's. I finished my master's not so long ago, a few months ago, and I out here, you know, like everyone that finishes the journey of education. So yeah, I'm just trying to hand in a thing here or two. Of course, also learning my German and also on the job set, but also, starting my own startup, which is Melanin Kapital, which of course is what you're speaking about, which, we were very lucky to be awarded for our efforts during the Corona period, because it was a tough period. At that time, you finish school, you can't find a job, you can't do anything. I was like, okay, I couldn't even coach, I couldn't play, now there was nothing available for me. That's why I said, let me try a hand in this. And yes, that's where I am right now. Thank you, Caroline.
What a compact introduction. So wait a minute, before we need to go now into each and every sector. So you got 3 scholarships, but let's start with rugby. It's not a cheap, let me say, it's not an affordable sport like football, yeah. But nevertheless, that doesn't mean that people cannot play rugby. So what motivated you to start playing rugby, and how did you start now? Where did you start? Because we have young people who are watching this and they're like, hey, I want to start playing rugby. Where do I start? How did you come to start to think of playing rugby? I find it very rough,
I think,
by the way.
No problem. I will try to go as concise as I can. So I think the rugby journey began when I was in high school. So I was in Strathmore, where they really pushed for this merge in education and sports, because they also see the value of sports that comes into it. So there it's like, you almost had no choice. It was in the program, while you study, you have to. So I was not even, at first I was actually a soccer player. Most people don't understand. I turned into a basketball player because I was tall. Then you learn back in rugby and you realize, okay, here it's a bit okay to be a bit of a tough fella, and I was also a quick guy, so they pulled me in. So that's how it all worked out. I tried a few different things, but then after I landed back in rugby, because it's the biggest sport back home.
Oh, wow.
And right after high school, I went straight into Impala Club. And from there, I was mentored by different coaches who supported me, I decided to go all the way to study in Juja, which was like so far from my club, which was on Ngong Road, but I was supported by, of course, the club through scholarship, and Peter Nwati was like the owner of Resolution. So this is the reason also I stayed in the game. I had support. Also, it was the thing, they say idleness is the devil's workshop. So for me, with the game and combining it with studies, I almost had zero time left for anything, So
idleness.
At the time I didn't have a social life for a bit, but of course it has value. And it just also, the game really instills discipline, They say it teaches you like you have to. If you don't train, or if you don't manage to work out in the right way, if you don't give the game a bit of time, you wouldn't be able to play well. So it's important that you stay within something that also, gives you other disciplines that you may not be able to collect from the other side. It's also a tough sport, Injuries, you have to get out of injuries. Injuries are something that can change your life in the sport. And I remember even I had an aim to be in the Olympics team in 2016, but my journey was cut short by an injury. But of course I did stay in the game because it was a time to give up. But then I decided, okay, let me stay on, and also support from coaches like Innocent, who were really strong to tell me look, get up, do this. And I was able to do Commonwealth Games 2018. And for me, at least, I was like, it was a chance to represent my country. And yes, that was my journey until there in terms of rugby on that side. Was in Germany, I came in, and it was obviously a new environment, we have foreign players from all over. This was super enjoyable, and we mixed together. And I think the coolest part was we were all really hungry to get this, because the club hadn't won anything since 10 years before that. So in 2019, when we won it, it was so amazing, to be in a new
star in the village,
come in and we all do this, it was just exciting. So it gave me hope also that, yes, I missed a lot previously because of different problems here and there. And of course, the merging in school is not easy. That's the other tough part. Because on one side, in rugby, they're telling you, hey, why are you always disappearing? Because I have to go to school. On the other side in school, they're like, why are you always disappearing? I have to go to rugby. So
you need to strike the balance. Yes.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So I'm sure people, then I'll tag your details, your contacts of people who are interested, they can get in touch with you.
Yes.
So let's talk about the civil engineering. Why the civil? Why did you decide
Why
I want
civil?
to? Yes,
Okay.
why civil?
think,
Why civil?
Engineering was just something that I was very interested in already from school. When you start going towards physics, I also had a really passionate teacher, and especially I keep telling, like, it's funny because I had a teacher who was called Mr. Dimba. He was not only my rugby coach, he was also my physics coach. So these things just came together. You're listening to him on the field, also in class. You're with him all the way. And then moved on, found another, I think my principal later became Mr. Gotaza, which, they just made it so passionate in me to want to do this that I knew engineering is the way I'm going. I didn't know which one, of course. And then construction, it was just, I had been trying very crazy things. I keep saying, like, I tried to find every way to make money. So I even found like an uncle or someone who told me they're doing construction. I tell them, hey, on that side, can I come in? So I've gone to as low as Mtuam Jengo. No, and for me, it was no problem because this is a way you learn things. I enjoy it. I enjoy getting into the dirt of doing things. Yeah, because I think it's the way you learn everything. So I have to say that was also how I got into engineering, because I like to get my hands dirty. And civil engineering because this was construction. And I specifically went into roads because then I was more passionate about transportation. So I know every guy is interested in cars, but now I was like, okay, what's the infrastructure that supports them? Quickly, I then realized, okay, I need to go into sustainability because you understand more about the world and you understand, you understand many problems out there that you're like, okay, I cannot no longer be part of the problem, I need to be part of the solution. And I think it is possible as an engineer to sometimes not take this into consideration and just go like, okay, look, I just built a road. But I was really interested to understand, how does this affect my environment? How does this affect and that's why I really struck and stood within engineering.
Okay, we'll come back to that part later on about sustainability, especially in urban environment, comparing the two environments, Germany and Kenya, but towards the end. So you said when you were in JKUAT, you came to know about the Daad Scholarship for an internship in Germany. This is something I've never heard about. So maybe you can tell the viewers about how you managed to, of course, you mentioned that through the ISEC organization, that's how you got on about the scholarship, but exactly the connection, how you started, and then give tips to students who are looking for scholarships, because we keep on getting so many requests. I'm looking for a scholarship. Where do I start? So the floor is yours now.
Thank you. Okay, with this, I'll say it's trying. Most people don't try.
Yeah.
Like, if I've won maybe, or I've managed to get 5 things, I've tried at least almost 100 times. That's what people don't see in the background. So it's a lot of trying with scholarships, all of these things, and just really looking out there, because people don't proactively do that. People either get comfortable, which is normal, or you're waiting for maybe something to come to you. No. For me, at least, because of the way, as you're seeing supporters come all over, these are things I had to, go out there and find. So in the school, what I did is, when I was in JKUAT, of course, there was a lot of associations. There was something called SES, like Student Engineering Society. There was ISEC, which was very good to teach you about also how to be involved with the community. There was then IASTE there. So this is just things that I tried on the little times that I had while I was in school, because of course I was managing a lot. And then I learned about this offer. So IASTE had an offer to do something in Germany, and I applied. And I remember, I think I applied the first year when I was in school, but I couldn't leave because of rugby. And then I reapplied just before I finished university, and I got the opportunity. Of course, DAD had all these programs that they have while then working with IASTE. So I didn't directly have to go to DAD because there was this support, but I had to apply. So there's the application process. You have to send all your documents and things like that. But I think the way to say is, if you're in university, go to class. That's the most important. But also, I think the other part that could really change your future is understanding, trying all these other different platforms and seeing what level they take you. There's all these people that come to university giving programs. Try these other things that can support what you're doing. Because I don't think it's enough to just be in that specific area. It's not that it won't work, but I'm just saying to be able to know how you can, go out, be global, instead of just thinking as with that small view. So that's how I say that is helpful. And again, last part is just going to their websites. Those people, keep trying them out. Google is your friend. Like in the age of tech, it's very tough to say, I don't know, they're not there. Scholarships in, I don't know where, in Germany, in where. Yes. So,
I'm also a great friend of Google, and it's just trying. I keep telling students, try, and you might be the first one to get this opportunity. So that doesn't mean that if you because people think, well, can you get me this scholarship? But I'm like, yes, which one? So check. I send the link? Okay, fine. Can you get me one? I'm just like, so you have to keep on trying. You have to keep on checking. And the other thing I also tell students is make sure you're also engaged at the university. There are so many programs. So if you're a student, wherever you are watching us, make sure you get engaged. There are so many activities within the university, and these are the programs that can help you later on. Like in Germany, they're very, very keen to see your social engagement, just apart from the academic performance. You might have an excellent academic performance, but you never went to any club. You're not engaged anywhere. You just, like working on your book. So try to get the balance. So Ian, now you're in Germany, you come to a culture where things are a bit different. I keep saying Germany, it depends on the personality. So you can come here with very high expectations, which can be met. You can come here with very high expectations. And then you realize the systems are different, the language, the culture, the cold. So you came and you're like, I'm in Berlin, huge city. So how did you manage to fit into the corporate and the cultural environment in Germany, coming from, our background, we are very warm, very vibrant, very, outgoing, and then you come, you're like, oh.
No, I wouldn't shy off and say it's difficult. It's definitely very difficult, but it's worth it. So I tell people, like, generally, it's a culture. It's a culture meet. It's always tough. I think two ways. Even if you take someone out of here and take them to our home, it'll take them some time. Some things will be like new to them, so it'll take some time. But I'll say there are things that help you. So the things that I can say, for example, already helped me is there's certain values, if you've already built, can be very helpful into, I think, connecting into German culture and things like that. And then some others is you either have to just slowly understand how to adapt, not necessarily to change, still uphold some of your cultures,
your
but
values,
you can integrate some of them, because I think it's only fair that if you're also trying to come in, that you're also ready to be open-minded and integrate a few things as you keep the ones that are important to you. So that's one. And if I would quickly list, if you German is you need it. So if you're in Nairobi and you're planning to come to Germany or any country in Europe, just check that language and start it. It's a really big factor. It's going to help you a lot. And then just be hardworking and honest, I
think it just depends on your personality. Like when I came here, of course, everyone gets into this culture shock. But then I told myself I have to make the best out of it, and I have to interact with the people who live here. Not to lose my values as a Kenyan. I say, well, I can also bring in my culture, and I also get to understand their culture. So we find like that meeting point, and you fit in,
No, it's exactly what you say. It's your culture. Like, I remember even in my class, like, no one almost knew about Kenya. But I can assure you, like, by the time I was done with that, not only my lecturer was already planning a plan with Nairobi, others are even interested, but that's it. And generally, Kenya at large, it's also an ambassador on this side. So also don't get here and forget where you came from, You have to always remind yourself and be strong about that. And when someone's telling you about their culture, feel free to also tell them this is how we do it back home, because in the end, this is just part of our journey, not the end of it. Yes. That's true. Yeah. So before we go to the startup, you featured everywhere on the newspaper. You've met like even the president of Kenya. You've been hosted by big TV stations in Kenya.
and you featured even in German newspapers. How does it feel? And what would you pass on? Which message would you pass on across to, let me say, to young upcoming civil engineers, rugby players, or anyone out there who is looking for someone to, hey, you can make it too.
To be honest, I feel blessed. Sometimes I sit back and I go like, wow. Some of these things are not things that I, for example, have control of, but it comes with one, keeping true to the cause. Always, I think once you have like a goal, don't shy away from it. Keep going for it. It's not gonna be easy, because sometimes what you want is not what everyone wants for you. So you really have to fight even within. Start with yourself, even with your own mind, to believe that these things can be done. You can go for it, because I know that part can be sometimes a challenge, and I'll say don't give up. Like, it comes a lot. The chances to give up in my life have been so many. The only reason I've gotten so far is because I have just managed to not give up. Because it's so important to remember that there's a lot of failure. For me, failure has become my friend. I tell people, like, when you make failure something normal, then it really helps you in life. So I've been rejected. I can't even count the amount of times, for me, when I apply and there's a rejection letter, I'm like, okay, next one, because now you build a habit. So you build a habit of being used to, if you fall, just, really stand up really quick.
Just wake up and move on.
Tell someone, but really don't give up on a dream. Don't give up on a belief, keep going for it, even when it's only you that's left that believes in it. Of course, that's very close to insanity, but my point is really push, because some of the things I have to tell you are very tough sometimes, because, not everyone supports it, whether it's in your family or it's in your friend, whichever way. But, when they see that also you are not shaken, then they're like, I think he knows what he's doing. So I think that's all I can say.
Yeah. I think this says it all, why you have managed even to co-found a company in Germany after being here for a very short time. Yeah, some of us have been here for years, for decades. But nevertheless, you came here and said, hey, I want to do something different. And this is actually, the company was founded when things were really tough, when all countries had shut down because of COVID. So like everyone was just like complaining, and you sat down with your co-founder and said, well, let's see what we can do. And you co-founded Melanin Kapital. What's it all about? And congratulations, by the way.
Okay. So again, you see, when I talked about giving up, that's what happened with COVID. And I'm sure it's not only to me, so a lot of people. Some people lost their jobs, travel was closed, you are locked in your house. It was definitely a time that created a very big change in a lot of people's lives. And that was me too, there was no more rugby, no more coaching. I was just about done with school. So I was like, wow, is this going to be the end? Do I just go back? What is it I can do? Because also back home, you call and you even hear tougher stories. So you're like, okay, what do I do with the environment? I mean, to change this. And that's when we started to build Melanin Kapital, because everyone that, of course, my journey as an entrepreneur is a whole other story that I can quickly say is that, I had already tried so many things back home, because you're like, okay, fine, your financial situation is not right, but how can you make it better? So I was, selling left, right, and center. Anyone who remembers me at rugby, I once got a gift of very good shoes and just sold it to someone who was like, your shoes are amazing. Because I was like, look, the cost that you're willing to offer, I can get maybe 2 other shoes later, cheap Mtumba, and life will move on.
Give me the money.
Yeah, that was me. Like, opportunities like those, you can't let them slide, So I really already saw the difficulty back home. Starting a business is easy, the knowledge is not. And the access to finance was impossible. Applying for any of these loans is very tough, and some of them come with very difficult
conditions. So
my co-founder in this point was also, working in an area that, they did funding for different parts of the world, of course, associated with the German government. And I was already like bamboozled. I was like, wow, you're telling me this this side that understands this about funding, and the other side that us who don't understand how the hell to get it. So that's really how I was like. And I was like, during COVID was already a really tough time. And again, I could not start a company back home because I could not go back home. And I was like, this is where I am. So that's where the journey began. How do you start it here? It's, you know, from converting German law documents into English, it was one hell of a struggle, but now I had something new to work towards, and there was a lot of time. Melanin Capital's aim is to become an impact investment bank. Our aim is to educate, advise, connect, and finance entrepreneurs. This is, of course, via different means and ways, but the main agenda is to just create not only financial inclusion, but access to finance for entrepreneurs back in Africa, and also to allow investors out there that are interested in reaching these businesses to have the pathway, because, you know, as I've said, we were having a bridge problem. On the other side, people looking for, and the other side, there's people here, you know, in Europe who want to invest, but, you know, it's not possible because either there's negative rates in a bank or something. So we were really trying to find a way to connect these two people. So that's what we're doing. We're building that bridge and building an impact investment bank, because we also value sustainability and other social aspects. Because in the end, we were like, it's very easy to come into a place and say, okay, I want to go invest in extractables, I don't know, gold and things. But no, we're like, no, we're not going to damage the environment. We're not going to also become part of the problem, as I always say. We just want to be a solution to entrepreneurs back in Africa.
Wow. Pongezi, by the way. In fact, one of the goals of the AG Hub is also to empower as many Africans in the diaspora to establish their business ventures. Not necessarily back home, but even here. You know, like you're walking to one of these streets in Germany, you find Africans selling groceries, you know, those things, or even our own beans, or our own products, or our own, you know, for the Africans, or even targeting the European market. So that is our hope, that we can also see many African ventures also being established here. So I'm definitely looking forward to a collaboration where we can see on how to tap and to reach out to all these people who have these business ideas and they're just lying somewhere in the cellar, you know. Germans say the German cellars or those basements.
You're right. And as you're saying, like, the vision is to always see about uniting, and always see how you create shared value for your two different environments. I think this will really work. Anytime you refuse to, you know, make this adaptation and do this, it can be very difficult, because as you're saying, you can't then, it's either you have to go back or you have to stay. But if you manage to try and also accommodate both sides, I think it could really create like, the ideas of how things can come here or vice versa, you know. I think it's a really good line to take.
Oh, wow. So before we finish our discussion, one of my goals is to see what can we give back to the community, not necessarily like, you know, in form of helping and giving money, but even establishing even collaborations, establishing partnerships, or even taking some of the things that we have learned here, taking them back home and see how can we blend the two, because I always say we also have something to give, by the way, not just taking. So when you come to sustainability in the urban environment, and you comparing Germany, which is very advanced in these areas, and Kenya, which is also upcoming up very, very nicely with good infrastructures, etc., etc. So let's talk about sustainability before we go to the part of giving back to the community. Do you think we're on track? I think we're on track back home.
I think we're on track, and I'll say, like, when it comes to sustainability, I think Africa is the land of opportunity, not why? Because in first world countries, they're already very industrialized. So already so many things that now they have to create solutions for. They created, I think, a lot of problems, whether it's manufacturing or things like that. And of course, also has been subletted back to other countries. But like, here you see they're now trying to solve that. But I think back home, we have a chance. We have a chance to start from the beginning in a different way. So, for example, in my direct area, if it's in urban, if it's in, for example, transportation, which is the area that is my strong interest, we have the chance to already either construct less roads, improve our public transport. You see, because we are at the stage where we are now building these things. We have that chance. Before now, we're already at the part where you've already now gone, of course, a crazy direction, whether it's the US or something. We've already built so much, and now you now have to try and reduce it to make it urbanly sustainable. When it comes to things like waste, there's already laws that we have not put, so we have the chance to then bring them on form. On this side, there's already so much they have to now go against and bureaucracy, solve these things. But I'm like, home, we have the chance, so I see hope. There's hope for us to do differently and to get there. Of course, here you will see people are already on higher levels of this, as you're saying, because as I'm saying, the problem is bigger, so they have to move faster. Already, you've seen what's happening in the news with different climatic changes all over the world. Urban sustainability is something that's super important, not only towards better living standards, but even survival of the earth itself. So that is something I think that someone can be part of easily. You can easily already move to sustainable ways of living, whether it's energy, use cleaner energy, whether it's in your environment, you can ensure that you're moving away from plastics. There's so many things you can already start small. And I think those are what I would say could be giving back to the community. Like, don't wait for you to, I don't know, come here.
Don't wait for the mess.
Exactly. Even when it comes to giving, I say, don't wait to start the habit, start knowing how to do it yourself from a small scale. Then once you develop the habit, I think it's easier.
I totally agree. And what I like, I actually see you like being in the advisory, some advisory board, giving us all these nuggets on how we can make sure we implement sustainable models. And there's so many ways of giving back. I can see you also like mentoring young kids. Maybe you can mention that before you show your parting shot. You mentor kids and doing an amazing work, especially kids they are the future generation. So if we can manage to mentor them properly, I think we will not go wrong in any way.
I think, yes. I love, again, as I've explained, you see, I've gotten to where I've gotten to through mentorship. Through people above me supporting me in so many ways, from, whether it's financially, whether it's, all these things I try to start. I talk to people, my mentors, and they tell me, hey, I would advise you to take this. So it's really been helpful. And I really try to create the opportunity for those right behind me. And another thing, as I said, people think that to mentor, you have to wait to become, I don't know who. Started from where you are, there's someone that can gain from what you know. So all are started. So kids, for me, are people that I think, are still very, are an open mind to open up to new possibilities. And the youth, as you're saying, is the next generation. So that's why I decided to really put a lot of my energy into these people. And you see, when you're a youth yourself, it's even better. You're within the problem with them. You're not telling someone like, do this about, for example, like what you're asking about in some of the youth I've mentored is like through Leadership Academy, which is you just talk to them and understand the kind of business problems they're going through. And already, if you've been going through the business and in it yourself, I'm a startup. So I'm not telling you a struggle that I have not gone through. Of course, I'm still going through with it, but a bit of experience of understanding it can be helpful to someone that's within the journey. That's how I see has been very helpful towards already mentoring people in that space, because you understand their struggles. You cannot, I find it sometimes tough to advise in something that you're not equally either gone through or going through. Yes.
That's true. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. They can easily identify themselves with you or the other way around, at least it's even language, you understand where they're coming from, and you might also help them to get where they're going. So you're parting short. We have young people who maybe they're like, oh, okay, I'm boarding the plane for my semester in March to study in Germany, or I want to join a sports club in Germany, or I want to start enroll for my first year in Kenya, or wherever you're watching us from. What is your parting shot? And you being such an amazing role model in the society.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Funny thing is, I'm also always thinking the same and looking for support. Also because I say like you're never at the ceiling. There's always someone that always comes above you. So what I'll say with someone is, one, just really stick to your line. Like take a lane and work towards it. Stay, really work hard towards it, and most of all, do not give up. As I said, the opportunity will come a lot. Accept failure as a part of process in your life. Also, have a belief in something, and lastly, just keep it honest and humble, because this things can get to your head. So keep going. Sometimes it's never that serious. I tell people, like, when you think it's that serious, it's not. Don't let it finish you also, breathe, because there's of course sometimes you've planned something, doesn't go as planned, doesn't go as planned on time. And when these things don't happen, you think now the world is ended, and your mind might even lie to you. So strengthen your mind, strengthen your body, and strengthen your soul, so that they all can support you at different times. So that is what I would.
Wow, what amazing closing remarks. And we have you as a mentor. So anyone who is looking for you, put your profile there. You can get in touch and get to know also what Melanin Kapital is doing. And thank you so much for having you on the platform, and all the very best in your career dreams ahead of you. I'm sure you have many.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to drinking some coffee very soon.
Yes, of course. I know there's some, you all will be doing something in Frankfurt sometime. So I believe
yes.
there will be the chance to do that. But thank you so much. And I think, this AG Career Hub is something really important, to really get out there and open out different people's stories, because I think they can motivate a lot of people to take different directions. And it's really also important for people to understand how life is on the other side. You can still do it back home. You can come here and then also empower back home. You can still empower here from back home. It can be done in whatever angle. So thank you so much for inviting me. And of course, I will be here in future.
Thank you for the wonderful remarks, and talk soon. Have a nice afternoon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.